Hello, listeners. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm your co host, Jackie Romer, a finance intern for the greater Chicago region, but I'm working from the Battery this summer.
Hi, everyone. I'm Giovanna Moreno, your other co-host. I'm a sales and marketing intern working from Comcast Battery office in Atlanta this summer with Jackie.
How are you feeling with your internship, Gio? It's super bittersweet that it'll be over soon. And while it's only been a few months, I've grown so much throughout this program. I'm going to miss it so much. Even the random little things like getting on the elevator, going down to Starbucks on the first floor, and just getting to socialize in the morning.
Yeah, me too. The little things are always somehow so memorable. I'm feeling so good with my internship. Thanks for asking.
But yeah, the summer has flown by here in Atlanta. Besides work, I've also really enjoyed just exploring a new city. I had never been to Atlanta before. So I've just loved going to all the different coffee shops, all the different restaurants. There's so many good restaurants and good food here in Atlanta. And something that I was never able to do back home in Miami is just go on hikes and explore different trails because there's not much of that over there. So I've just really loved exploring things in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, that's been so good to hear, exploring a new place, not being from Georgia as well. It's been super cool exploring. A good spot near the Battery that I've found definitely has been Saperica. It's right under the Comcast office here. And it's like a little Mexican spot. They have really good tacos when I've gone with a couple of my friends. So that's definitely a place I'd recommend.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it. I haven't been there yet. But yeah, also speaking about exploring a new place, that kind of relates to this week's episode.
Yeah, you're right. On this episode, our theme will be focusing on how a day in the life looks like for an intern, which I think is particularly important for future interns to know, especially coming to a new place.
Yeah, and we all learn from each other, and hearing about a current intern's typical work routine, whether they're working remotely or in the office, helps paint a picture of what working at Comcast could look like.
Exactly. On this week's episode, we're welcoming Rebecca Wolff, a public relations intern from the Florida region. She'll be walking us through her point of view and daily routines as a Comcast intern.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for making the time to come talk to us and help us pass on our intern cohort's perspective and advice to future interns.
Yeah, and as you know, we're a podcast written and produced by interns for interns.
Yeah, of course. Working on projects like this is something that's really so cool, and it sets Comcast apart. We have so many resources and ways to improve ourselves as interns.
Yeah, we really get to feel like our work is meaningful and are truly an important part of the team.
Yeah, and before we really dive into the theme of this week's episode, Rebecca, we'd love if you could share a little bit about yourself, where you went to school, and something fun you enjoyed, just so the audience can get to know you a little.
As you said, my name's Rebecca. I was born and raised in Florida, where I'm working. And I grew up in Tampa, but I moved to Gainesville to attend the University of Florida a few years ago. And I'm going into my fourth year there. I'm studying public relations with an emphasis on event management. And I'm very involved in my university. I'm the VP of our student-run PR firm called Alpha PR. And then I'm also on the team for her campus UFL, which is an online magazine. And it's been a really amazing experience there at the University of Florida.
That's awesome. I also went to UF. I graduated there this past May. It's such an amazing school. I miss it so much. And you're involved in some great organizations.
Yeah, so what's something that both of you guys love about living in Florida that only really a Florida native like yourselves would know about?
Ooh, I mean, I feel like the basic answer is definitely the beach. You gotta love the beach if you live in Florida, and that's definitely something that I take advantage of living here. But also something that's kind of unexpected for Florida is how big like the hockey scene is here. I really love watching hockey. That's one of my hobbies. And so because I'm from Tampa, I'm a Lightning fan, but my office is actually in West Palm Beach, which is South Florida. And the South Florida team is the Panthers. And they were recently in the Stanley Cup, which was exciting for everyone down here. And because I was working down here, I got the chance to go to a watch party, and it was so much fun. And you wouldn't expect that sort of thing in Florida.
Yeah, that's amazing. Florida, like you said, with the beach, it's basically summer all year long, especially in South Florida. So it's nice to always have going to the beach as an option.
Yeah, being from Ohio, I definitely can't say the same about our weather all the time, but sounds like Florida's a great state to grow up in. But out of curiosity, what led you to applying and ultimately accepting this internship position with Comcast?
Yeah, so I didn't really make the connection between Universal and Comcast or even NBC when I was growing up, but I did know that Comcast was a cable company, and I eventually learned more about Comcast and that it's a Fortune 500 company. So that really drew my attention to the program. And the internship program specifically, having multiple location options was a plus because I could stay in Florida, which is something that's really important to me. But meeting with my now managers for the first time was ultimately what led me to accepting the internship. We got along very well, and I felt really heard and respected even as I was interviewing with them. They also had career backgrounds that aligned with my career aspirations, so it really felt like a perfect fit for me.
That sounds great. Yeah. I heard about this internship from one of my friends at UF, actually. So shout out to her. And then also doing some of my own research and seeing that Comcast is a very well-known cable company, obviously, and connected to other companies like Universal and NBC also really drew my attention.
Yeah, when I was first looking for my internship for this upcoming summer, I really drew the correlation between Comcast and NBC, which is how I found it. I found it via LinkedIn. And just sitting on my couch, I remember saying, oh, Comcast is such a huge company. I don't know if I'll ever hear back. But obviously it did. I'm here now, and I'm so glad it worked out for all three of us, genuinely. I love my team and the experience I've had so far.
Yeah, I do too. It's been amazing.
Rebecca, so can you share with us a little bit about your team and what your internship position is this summer?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on the public relations team as a public relations intern participant here at the Florida office in West Palm Beach. My team is very small. I report to my managers, Mindy and Cindy, which is a little bit of a tongue twister, but working with them has been the best. As part of the Florida region, we oversee PR for all of Florida and some of the smaller markets in Georgia and Alabama as well. And while the team is small, I quickly learned that although we're tiny, we really make an impact because we have so much to get done. We are the largest market with the most passings as well, so that keeps us really busy.
That's so interesting. I've been really interested in PR actually. But as a marketing intern, we also touch on engaging with our audience, but from kind of a different business perspective.
Again, as a finance intern, I definitely understand the importance, but we don't really work together, PR, finance, everything like that. But Geo's marketing services almost act as a middleman between our two departments. So it's nice to see the three different business perspectives from our internship roles working together in a grand scheme of business.
Yeah, one thing I've learned this summer is that all the departments intertwine in really unique ways.
So being able to work on side projects allows us to explore different fields we're interested in. And I think that's one of the ways that Comcast is really unique. It's exactly what this kind of intern podcast goal is all about, to get interns from all departments to work together. So I think that's really great.
Yeah, especially because we have all different daily routines. It's good to find those moments where we can all work together on something. But Rebecca, could you take us through what a typical day in the life looks like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't necessarily have a typical day because sometimes I work in the office and sometimes I work from home, depending on the day of the week.
Yeah, we do too. Could you take us through both? Which do you prefer?
I honestly see perks of working for both or working through both. I work remotely 2 days of the week and I come into the office for 3 days. There isn't necessarily one that I like more than the other. I would say on remote days, I take my time to get my day started because I don't physically have to drive anywhere. And on office days, I enjoy the environment and seeing everyone just out and about. So both definitely have positives.
Right. I definitely see those positives on a weekly basis too. Being able to work remotely and in person has been such a great added benefit to this whole experience. But what does your typical remote day look like?
Yeah, so my remote days are usually Monday and Friday, which is really nice because I get to have a shorter, more relaxed, getting ready process for the starts and ends of the week because I don't have to commute to the office. So the setup is ideal because waking up a little later Mondays and Fridays makes the flow from weekend to work week really nice. So after I wake up and get ready, I either stay home or go to a nearby coffee shop to work. I love working at coffee shops because of the ambiance. I really do feel more productive when I'm around other people. And I also like being able to order coffee because who doesn't? And on remote days, we usually focus on more independent tasks like checking Teams and emails first, and then catching up on media clippings using Cision. I go through and I tag any relevant coverage that I find, compile daily clips, and collect any media clips found in the news. So every day is really different, and I could be focusing on blog posts or Comcast Now articles, writing press releases, adapting templated press releases. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. But on remote days, rather than meeting with my team, I usually work independently on the background work for when we are in person and do meet.
I love that. All your work sounds super interesting. I also do appreciate the slightly later wake up on remote days.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, a lot of the time it's true working remotely. Working from the waist up with just your clothing choices, I sometimes do wear like running shorts, sweatpants, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. So,
No, I totally agree. I honestly enjoy the slower pace on those days, but it is nice going into the office and being able to see everyone.
Yeah, can you take us through a day when you're working in person?
Yeah, totally. So days at the office are a little earlier because I do have to commute, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing. As part of my commute, I usually pick up coffee from Starbucks or Wawa on the way, which is a fantastic way to start my day. And then I get into the office around 8 or 8:30, check in with my team. The Florida office is definitely smaller than the Battery office in Atlanta, but it's kind of nice to be in a more intimate setting. I love knowing everyone on a more personal level and getting to say good morning and being connected with my team members on my way in. And then I usually go through my email and my team's messages, as well as do a run of my daily tasks. On in-person days, we have the bulk of our meetings, so I prep for those and any major projects we have going on. We also have a coffee station in the office, which is my favorite thing when I need an afternoon pick-me-up. I'm sure you can tell I rely a lot on coffee.
no, absolutely. The coffee stations are such a lifesaver. I catch myself going probably 2 or 3 times a week, maybe sometimes a day if I really need it just to get through.
Yeah, we also have a snack and coffee bar here at the Battery, and I love them. Sometimes taking that short walk to go get a coffee or a tea is just what you need when you need to just keep on working on your projects.
The blogs and press releases you're working on with the PR team sound super fun. What have been your projects or piece of work so far that you've been working on?
Yeah, so one project that really stood out to me and impacted me was our Flag Day project. For Flag Day, we released a piece about the importance of replacing damaged flags and the importance to it of those who have served. And I got to work on this piece and pitch to media. It was amazing to have the experience of writing a press release, editing it, getting it approved, and then pitching it. I'd only ever worked on parts of this and not the entire process, so it was an exciting first for me. It was also so rewarding to see how the piece I helped, get out to the media impacted my fellow coworkers and veterans. I didn't expect to see such a distinct change in my community, but my work got them so excited, and I could see the ripple effect from one piece I worked on, which was very cool. And it also showed me how PR can be used for good. I know there are many reasons why PR has stereotypes or is viewed negatively for some companies, but Comcast really uses it to create positive change and share truly impactful stories. They also do a lot of social work and volunteer projects that positively impact communities. So it's really nice to highlight that.
It sounds like you're having a wonderful time, which is really great, and doing really meaningful work with PR. Every intern I've spoken with so far has had such a positive experience. So that's great to hear. So as part of your day in life, what's a good go-to place for future interns to check out near the office?
Okay, so I really love going to Wawa during my lunch breaks. As we discussed, I have a caffeine addiction, so I definitely always go for a soda in the afternoon. So I'll pick up a soda from there, and I'll either grab a sandwich or a quesadilla. I know that's not the healthiest option, but it gets me through the day. And Publix is also close by, which is really good. Both are staples here in Florida that interns who are working here should definitely try.
Yeah, I definitely think it's what you make of the experience that makes it so great. But Comcast and the university relations team do such an excellent job at creating opportunities for a great summer that it's almost hard not to really have a great experience.
Exactly. Rebecca, do you have any suggestions or advice for future interns to make the most of their days or overall experience interning with Comcast?
I would say you get out of it what you put into it. My biggest piece of advice is to be outspoken and always ask questions, even if you're only slightly unsure. The people around you want to help you, and they really want to see your authentic self, and they really value your perspective and your personality. So don't be afraid to bring that into work.
Well said. I've been definitely keeping that in mind throughout my internship, but I'm glad you mentioned it.
Yeah, and Rebecca, thank you so much for taking the time to be a part of this episode of the Internet Podcast and sharing your experience with us.
Of course, it was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning into the Internet Podcast. This episode was put together by our project lead, Jack Uzinski, producer Darian Carter. Script was co-written by Samantha Barron and Esperanza Torres, and script editor Leah Bader. Co-hosted by Giovanna Moreno and Jackie Romer. The podcast was edited by Lauren Banks, and the graphics were created by Rabia Kang. A big thank you to our support from the University Relations Team, Employee Communications, and Talent Brand teams at the Central Division, including Janda Anderson, Ernesto Sosa, Stephanie Beard, and Renee DeSantis.
If you want to deep dive and create the future with us, please don't forget to apply this fall for a summer internship. Applications open in September, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. Stay tuned for the next episode and all season long, as we'll be bringing our best selves. See you then.